Namaste guys, ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consulting, giving you a big and beautiful shout out. This, almost didn't get it, this Saturday afternoon, actually, it's almost this evening. It's about 15 minutes until 5 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time in Denver, Colorado. And I actually just got back from the mountains. You're like, but wait a minute, aren't you in the mountains because you have mountain time? Not exactly. In order to get into the mountains, you're looking at about an hour drive, a little over an hour drive to get into the mountains. Michelle, Namaste. So I just came back from Winter Park, and Winter Park is a mountain town in Denver, Colorado, or near Denver. It's about 2 hours from Denver, and the elevation is a little over 9. Eric, Namaste, my barbecue brethren. It's about 9,000 feet above sea level. So Denver is called the Mile High City. Kenny, Namaste, you sexy man. It's called the Mile High City because from sea level, it's 5,280 feet high. It's exactly a mile. When you go higher into the mountains, obviously it gets higher, right? And so Winter Park is a little over 9,000 feet. Winter Park, Colorado is a little over 9,000 feet. You don't really notice it too much. The drive there is pretty cool, pretty intense. There's all these switchbacks. So a switchback is when, thanks Alex, a switchback is when you're going up a hill and then you turn to go more up the hill and then you turn to go more up the hill and then turn to go. So each one of those is called a switchback. Little terminology you pick up as you live in the area. And so you guys probably, if you watched the stream yesterday, a friend and I, we went to the hot springs, the hot sulfur springs, and that's actually the name of the town, which is about an hour from Winter Park. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't thoroughly impressed. I've been to a lot of hot springs in Colorado and in California, and I wasn't impressed. Cute hotel, clean, organized, but the water didn't seem to be very clean. It just wasn't my thing. Probably other people love it and they can't get enough of it. But also because it's the sulfur springs, I forgot sulfur smells like rotten eggs. So not the most pleasant smell. Eventually you get used to it and you don't even think of it anymore. So that probably was part of it. The sulfur part, the water wasn't super clean in my opinion. And then there's a train that goes through about 4 trains a day. And 3 of those trains go through, I think, past 9 o'clock at night. So I was like, when I entered the room, I go, what are these little earplugs hanging out for? You don't usually see earplugs in hotel rooms. And then the train went by. And I was like, that's why they have the earplugs there. I always travel with earplugs and an eye mask because my body is very sensitive and wakes up almost through anything. It's very weird, actually. So, didn't have to use the earplugs for whatever reason. I probably just said, forget it. My body was really tired anyways after going to the hot springs. But all in all, good experience. And then on the way back from the hot sulfur springs, going back through Winter Park, we ended up heading down to the little Winter Park area. And this weekend is actually the last weekend of the season. So in mountain towns in Colorado, they have a certain time that they close the ski. They close the mountains for skiing. Some places close them earlier. Some places close them much later. But this particular area in Winter Park, Colorado, this weekend, tomorrow actually, they're closing the skiing for the entire season. So it was kind of adorable. And this weekend is 80s weekend. So a lot of the skiers and snowboarders were dressed up in 80s clothing, 80s apparels, like funky jackets and leotards and weird hats. And, I've never really been skiing in my entire life, even though I've lived in Colorado or Denver for about 6 years. I've never really, spent the $1,500 for the apparel and then the $600 for the yearly pass or the season pass. So, I don't know, it's just not a huge priority of mine. I'd rather spend it on a meditation retreat, a healing retreat, getting healing from somebody, massages from somebody. That's more important to me. That adds more value to my life than going skiing. But hey, who knows? Maybe when I go skiing, it'll be the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. Not sure. What's tonight's topic? right? Because we always have a specialized topic. The first few minutes is me running my mouth about something, and then we actually get into the meat of the topic. And the topic was, are you rushing through your spiritual practice? And what made me think of it from today is when we were at the resort in Winter Park, and we were seeing the hundreds and hundreds, PK Atman, I would say, we were seeing the hundreds of people that were skiing, either coming down, going up, that were hanging out in the eating area, the drinking area. Weird. Because people do. So people do a lot of drinking in the mountains. And you might be saying, well, why do people, for a lot, and I'm going to say, you might be saying, well, why do people do a lot of drinking in the mountains? Because it's fun, right? Because you don't have to drink as much to get drunk in the mountains, right? The air's thinner, it affects your blood differently, and you can get drunk faster with less alcohol. That's pretty much how it works. So as I was witnessing all the people, I saw some people were super into what they were doing. They're in the present moment of experiencing their friends, their family members. They were present to being on their snowboard, being on the skis. Like, you could see and sense that they were fully engaged with the process. But then the majority of the people, probably 80% of the people, were just kind of like somewhere else. They're like staring off into space. They were in and out of consciousness. They weren't interacting with anyone directly, or if they were kind of just partly listening and partly connecting. And I thought to myself, because everything is a spiritual practice, your spiritual practice isn't just you sitting down in your meditation cushion once a day or twice a day, and then once you do your 20 or 30 minutes of meditation, you've been spiritual for the day, and now you can live like a heathen for the rest of it, right? Your spiritual practice is actually your life. It's living your life consciously. And so, as we were leaving the Winter Park resort area and got back on the road, I started looking at the different people that were driving. Now it's a Saturday afternoon. It's leisure. The weather's okay. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's a little cloudy, but no rain, no sleet, none of that. And I'm looking at the people, and you can just see like the glossed over blank looks on people's faces as they're driving, right? And again, this isn't to criticize or isn't to judge how other people are showing up in their lives. It's simply to be aware of and acknowledge where people are at, right? Because I thought to myself, well, what am I doing? Am I paying attention to the road? And I go, no, I'm not really paying that much attention to the road. I'm not that present on what I'm doing with the cars in front of me, the cars behind me, the cars to the right, the cars to the left. I'm just kind of on my phone, getting back to clients, posting things on Instagram, connecting with different kinds of people. I'm present to that, but I'm not actually present to driving. Because for me, I don't know about you, driving doesn't require a lot of my mental awareness and mental attention. So I'm just kind of doing stuff on my phone. Don't recommend it. If you notice yourself all over the road, I've never gotten into an accident, and I've been driving for 20 years, right? So I'm like, it's all that in a bag of chips. So, but as I put the phone down and I become aware of what I'm doing, and I'm aware of what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Mathan, namaste. Thank you for sharing it. I appreciate that. I'm aware of what I'm doing, and then I'm looking at the other people that are driving. And again, I said that like that blank look on their face. And I go, well, what could I be doing in this moment right now that would add to my life, that would add to greater joy, greater happiness, greater enthusiasm, maybe different understanding? And two things came to mind. One, simply being aware of my heart. For those of you who've done the Twin Hearts meditation with us as a group, or you've done it by yourself independently, Stephen, Atma Namaste. In the beginning of the Twin Hearts meditation, you be aware of your heart, and you think of a happy event, and you connect your heart to that happy event, and the happy event to your heart, and your heart gets what? It expands, it gets bigger, it becomes more activated. And so as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, oh, okay, let me be aware of my heart. Ah, this is nice. Right? I'm turning my spiritual. Would love if you could talk louder. Hold on. Hold on, everyone. All right, the volume is as high as it goes, so I don't know why you can't hear me clearly. Maybe turn up your volume, Stephen. My volume on this side is as high as it goes, and I'm pretty close. Can you hear me now? I feel like this is a Verizon commercial. So, I'm being aware of my heart as I'm driving, and what does that do? It makes the driving experience all the more pleasurable, all the more blissful, all the more joyful, because my heart is activated, right? The sweetness, the tenderness, the warmth in the heart is like radiating outwards. What's another thing that I tapped into? Michelle, namaste. Thank you for sharing and liking, and I appreciate that. Thank you, because I have my Facebook open behind the camera. And so I remembered about a lesson that one of the masters in pranic healing was sharing about Master Choa. And Master Choa was in the passenger seat. One of the masters was driving him to and from a class. And Master Choa looks off Maria, namaste, looks off to the side, and he sees this watermelon truck. You heard me when I got close? That's so weird. I don't know. Maybe this isn't supposed to be a super loud live stream. And so Master Choa sees this watermelon truck off the side of the road where people are selling watermelons right out of the truck. And Master Choa is calculating the amount of watermelons, the amount of income, all the things that are necessary, like how much the person was selling the watermelons for. And Master determined that this person wasn't making any money. And the master sitting next to him says, who cares? It's just a watermelon truck. And he says, you have to keep the mind sharp. You have to keep the mind sharp. So even though it seems like a mundane practice of there's a watermelon truck, there's a sign, that's how many, that's what he's selling the watermelons for. That's how many watermelons he needs to sell per day. What the rotting rate is of the watermelons, blah, 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 all the different factors. What that does is it keeps the mind engaged. It keeps the mind sharp. It prevents you from having Alzheimer's when you're in your 70s, 80s, and 90s. And so that was the other thing that I was realizing of being present in my spiritual practice. Because what could I have been doing when I was driving? I could have zoned out, had my hand at 10 and 2, and then just zoned down the road. Make sure I slow down. I'm about to hit this person. Don't want to go too fast down the hill. Like all the little gross things that we do when we're driving that don't require that much awareness or that much of attention. But if you're trying to calculate things in your head as you're driving, it requires more awareness and more attention. If you're trying to be aware of your heart and feeling the love in your heart, feeling the peace in your heart, feeling the joy in your heart, and connecting with other energies in other chakras. Dean, namaste. You're late to the party, son, but always good to have you on. You're making your daily life more engaging versus just having a mundane, boring existence or experience where you don't get a lot of value out of it. So what this reminds me of is many friends of mine, because I was brought up in Massachusetts in the United States, and most people in Massachusetts are Catholic. And a lot of those people have had to memorize and recite the Lord's Prayer throughout their Catholic schooling. And when people say the Lord's Prayer without understanding, without awareness, without reverence, it comes off as very mundane, very boring, and it's lacking any luster. Like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass us. For thine is the power, the glory, the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Right? That's how people have been trained to say the Lord's Prayer. Right? Almost like a machine, very robotic. No understanding, no awareness, no reverence. But for those people who have a higher level of understanding of the Lord's Prayer, they realize that it is a tool for inner transformation. That's extraordinarily powerful. Namaste. Just woke up Sunday morning in Perth, 7 a.m. Happy Easter, my fellow Hatha Yoga brother. Happy Easter to you, homeboy. We'll be there very, very soon. Another, Another 7 hours, and then we will be in Easter Sunday. I'm glad you're just getting up and joining us. Very honored. So the point I'm trying to make to each and every one of you, and most of you who are watching this have some kind of spiritual practice. Maybe it's not Twin Hearts meditation. Maybe it's not Hatha Yoga meditations. Maybe it's from some other school, some other teacher. Maybe it's from your religion, right? Maybe you don't have a spiritual practice at all, and you're just wondering why you're even on this stream to begin with. That's okay too. Hopefully you're getting some nuggets out of this. The point is, you want to have every moment of your spiritual practice, and extend that out through your life, where you're being present to what you're doing. You're having reverence for what you're doing. You're having understanding for what you're doing. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. I mentioned this in a stream, I think a couple days ago, where I've had the honor and privilege of doing the Twin Hearts meditation over 4,000 times over the past 15 years. That's a lot of times doing it. And there were probably many opportunities for me just to, all right, be aware of my heart, smile, be aware of my crown, smile. All right, whatever, I'm going to raise my hand. All right, the earth is in front of me. Yeah, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, wherever they said blah, blah, blah. Right? I could have been, Ashley, Atma Namaste, Stacy, Atma Namaste. I could have been very lazy, very rote, and very rushed with doing the Twin Hearts meditation. Why? Because I can treat my spiritual practice like any other thing that's on my to-do list. Oh, it's on my to-do list. I did it. Check. Woo! I feel so amazing. I feel so accomplished. But did you really tap into the energies? Did you really sit down, be still, practice awareness, practice understanding, practice reverence for what it is that you're actually doing? Did you breathe life into your practice? Just like when I was at Winter Park, was I breathing life into my experience being around all the snowboarders and all the skiers and all the people that were sitting off to the side that were enjoying their lunches, their drinks, etc. Right? Was I being present to that? Was I being aware of that? Was I reveling in the moment and being grateful for the moment? Or was I just like, yeah, whatever, just another experience. Chetna, namaste. Just another experience, whatever. Or as I'm driving back, I could have just, like I said, put my hands on the wheel and gone the hour and a half, almost 2 hours back to Denver and thought nothing of it. Or what did I choose to do instead? Focus on my heart, expand my heart, be so grateful, be joyful, be blissful, be enthusiastic about life, enthusiastic about this experience and this moment in time. Using my mind to like break things down, look at different license plates and make combinations, look at the different vehicles and go, I wonder what year that is, and like when did they stop making that model, and like I wonder what some of the upgrades from the previous went from the previous to the current model. Did the other models have a sunroof? Like, all right, well, if I had a sunroof, what's the price difference of having a sunroof to no sunroof? Really, and is it worth that? Like, I wonder how much it costs to manufacture that, right? Keeping my mind engaged and or keeping my higher emotions engaged to breathe life into my practice and to not rush everything. Because I thought to myself, I go, okay, when people want to go into the mountains to go skiing or snowboarding in Colorado, they like rush all of their stuff. They rush getting their skis, their poles, their pants, their goggles, their helmet. They rush to get all those things, and they're rushing to put it into their car, and then they get in their car and they rush to go to the destination while being in traffic. Then once they get to the destination, they rush to get on top of the hill, and then they rush to get down the hill, and then they rush to have their experience, right? And then they rush to get home. And I thought to myself, I go, at any point in time, is the person experiencing joy? Is the person experiencing the present moment? Are they sucking the marrow out of that experience? Or are they rushing from point A to point B, rushing from point B to point C, rushing from point C to point D, and then rushing from point D back to point A, right? So I thought about that. And again, this is not judgment to you or to anyone that was on the mountain. It's simply an observation of, are these people enjoying the present moment? And if not, why not? And am I enjoying the present moment? And then I realized there were certain points that I was like, I'm not being present. I'm being distracted. I'm thinking about not here. I'm thinking about going somewhere else. But then it's like, once I'm at that somewhere else, I'm going to be thinking about being somewhere else. And then once I'm at that somewhere else, I'm going to be thinking about being somewhere else. And do you notice the pattern of thinking, the pattern of behavior, the pattern of being? It's like, wait a minute. At what point in my day, in my week, in my month, in my life, am I here? Am I present? Am I grateful? Am I joyful? Am I celebratory? When and where is that? And then I realized, now baby, that's it. Got the present moment. Like as I'm talking to each and every one of you on this live stream, and for those of you watching the replay, this is it, baby. This is it. This is our moment together. Susan, I'm a namaste. This is our time to connect. This is our time to laugh. This is our time to cry. This is our time to feel everything versus, how can I be distracted? How can I be distracted? Right? So I realized that, and I think a big part of it is I've driven many, many miles in my life. I've driven all over the country multiple times. And whenever I'm with friends or family members or girlfriends or wives, I've only been married once, I'm always the one driving because I like to drive, but I also realize, I remember the longest drive I did in recent memory was from Austin, Texas to Denver, Colorado. That drive, almost straight through without stopping, was about 15 hours. 15 hours of straight driving, other than peeing, getting a snack, and filling up gas. No other stopping. The most I ever drove was 19 hours from Florida to New Jersey. That was my biggest haul, right? And I realized that I can take that as a time of being bored out of my mind of I can't believe I have another 12 hours of driving or another 10 hours of driving. But instead I took that moment of how can I be grateful in this moment? How can I appreciate the people that are on the road? How can I learn different things about the signage, about the houses, about the different placement of the businesses? Prima and namaste, right? Keeping my mind engaged, keeping my higher emotions engaged, and it made the experience that much better. Versus, I drove 14 hours straight, right? Not very enjoyable, not very grateful, not very evolutionary in its purpose. So that's all. That's all I wanted to share with you guys this evening is you don't have to rush through your life. And it's funny because as I'm saying this to you, I'm laughing at myself because most of my life, most of my life has been rushing. Rushing from A to B to B to C to C to D and then back to A, right? And I wasn't in the present moment. And I know that term is used a lot. It's become a cliche and it's kind of lost its luster because people it just goes over their head yeah, present moment, got it. What else you got, right? Missing that the present moment is very valuable. It's priceless. It's sacred. It's right now. And I realized I did that a lot as a teenager and 20-something and even early 30s of rush. And now I'm doing my best to suck the marrow out of the experience and have it be a beautiful experience. Just like when I was sitting in the hot tub in the hot springs yesterday, I'm like, all right, not super hot. I've been much hotter places, and I wonder if there are hotter tubs. And I wonder what those are like. So I'm not even enjoying the hot tub that I'm in that moment. I'm already projecting into the future other opportunities instead of being here right now. Which was actually a really good reminder that there was another gentleman. He had a little tattoo on his left shoulder. He had his man bun pulled back. You know, he was decently tan, decently in shape, probably did yoga on a regular basis, probably some kind of modern day hippie, looked like. And I noticed something about him, that he was enjoying the present moment. You could just see it in his body. He was enjoying the present moment. I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow this guy's lead. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to observe the spaces around me. I'm touching the different tiles. I'm looking at the water flowing in and out, you know, over my shoulders. I'm, you know, looking at the different things that were going on in my present moment experience, instead of projecting myself into a hotter, you know, tub or hotter batch or whatever. So it was good. So I'm grateful and thankful to him for being an example for me. And that's it. So for those of you, almost done with my coffee. For those of you who are looking for healing to move your life forward, I highly recommend going to ChristianRLong.com and getting a healing. I know some of you either have never gotten energy healing before and you're kind of leery of what it's all about. Then reach out to me and go, Christian, how does this stuff work? How can you be in Denver, Colorado, and I can be in my city, and you can literally affect my energy in a positive way or a negative way, depending upon our purpose, right? I don't understand how that works. Then contact me. Ask me questions, right? I do a free 30-minute consultation with everybody to find out where you're at, why you're stuck, and how pranic healing can help you. And then from that point, if you're like, you know what? I want to work with you. Here's my credit card. Let's get going. Then we do that. If you're like, you know what? I'm not convinced, not interested. I don't see the point of this. I don't see how you can help me. Then that's fine too. Then our session is over, and at least you'll know more after the 30 minutes than you did before the 30 minutes. And I can tell you wholeheartedly that pranic healing has transformed my life and has transformed the lives of millions of people around the world. Unequivocally, without any hesitation whatsoever. Jenny, I'm going to say, but, just because it transformed my life, just because it transformed the lives of millions of other people around the world in over 90 countries, it doesn't mean it will transform your life, right? It doesn't mean it's true for you. All you can do is take it as temporary truth from other people who have been there and done that, get the experience, and then draw your own conclusion and go, hey, my life transformed as well. That's awesome. Or, you know, I went through a session, didn't feel anything, didn't notice any shifts. A couple of days, a couple of weeks later, pranic healing's not for me. That's fine. That's fine. Doesn't have to be for you. Anna, Atma Namaste, you beautiful Brazilian. You're late to the party, girl. You're going to have to watch the replay. But I love you. It's good to have you on, no matter what time you come in. And that's it, guys. So if you need healing, reach out to me directly at ChristianRLong.com/services. Any questions, reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. Anyway, putting Christian R. Long, you'll find me online, right? And that's it. So I'm going to get back to being present at my place. It's nice to be back. It was nice to be gone, and it was nice to be back. To actually quote one of my mentors, he said something very interesting about a relationship, that he had not been in a relationship for 10 years. It's a long time, right? Coming from a guy who's in a relationship every, week and a half. I've learned my lesson, guys. I've learned my lesson. Thank you for being there for me and supporting me. So he hadn't been in a relationship for 10 years. He got into a relationship for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it was very intense relationship for him. Very intense relationship. And then when I saw him again, right at the time that him and I were connecting with one another, his relationship had ended. And he said something really profound to me that I'll never forget. And I said, how was it? Like, are you all right? And he goes, yeah, the emotions are sad, The emotions are processing what had happened over the past 2 years of being in a relationship. He says, but you know what? I was happy before the relationship. I was happy in the relationship. And I'm happy out of the relationship. And I was like, wow, that's pretty high level. I really like that. Because isn't that what your spiritual practice is all about? Isn't that what yoga is all about? It's being grounded and anchored in the permanentness of your soul and of the aspect of the soul, and not anchoring your joy, your happiness, your fulfillment in things that are always changing. Relationships are always changing. Living situations are always changing. Careers are always changing. The economy is always changing, right? Your emotional state is always changing. Your mental state is always changing. Your physical body is always changing. But if you can anchor yourself in who and what you are, which is the soul, which is a being of light, love, and power, which is permanent, whether you have a physical body or not, isn't that the whole purpose of spirituality? Isn't that the purpose of yoga? Isn't that the purpose of your meditation practice? To be grounded in what is permanent versus being grounded in what is impermanent? Think about it. It's profound, right? If you realize it and assimilate that into your life, it's profound. So I hope that helps, you beautiful souls. All right, guys, this is ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful Saturday, the day before Easter. And we will be doing our meditation and healing tomorrow. If you have not signed up for that, go a couple pages, actually keeping it real, go a couple posts below this video on Facebook and sign up. We're doing it from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. 30 minutes of meditation, 30 minutes of healing, group healing. The meditation is free. The group healing is $25 donation. And all the links are there. All right, guys. Love you very, very much. This is ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful Saturday, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye.